Yay! Welcome, and honestly, thank you all so much for being here for week 1 of the Art of Astrology Online Academy. So welcome to our classroom. This is going to be your video content. You also have the ebook for this week. And I kind of decided to keep it a little lo-fi and to keep the costs down. I'm just going to use Google to record this. So here I am on my trusty MacBook. I'm totally a believer in you can make anything happen with, an iPhone. I'm a sucker for Apple, but with an iPhone, an iPad, and a computer. So that's what I'm all about. It's not some sort of fancy video, but I promise you the content is going to be great. So again, thank you all so much for being here. This has totally been a dream of mine for a long time. I've done this in person, but this is the first time I've launched it online, and the response just lights me up. I'm so excited. I'm so grateful. So the way the course is going to be structured is every Thursday you'll get an ebook from me. You'll get one of these classroom links, and then we're also going to have 2 Zoom meetings. So if you basically, to come on Zoom, you just have to make a free account and download the app. I think it's an app. You can do it on your computer too. Basically, if you just, in the email I sent, you click the link, it will guide you as to how to sign up. You can sign up, even log in with Facebook too, so it's really easy. And that's where we're going to meet live. So you can come on with your webcam there or ask your questions there. And because we have such an awesome group, I'm going to do 2 classes a week. So feel free to pop on both if you'd like. But also you don't have to pop on any. You can pop on as much as you'd like. And so our first one is going to be Tuesday, September 6th at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard. And then we're going to do on Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. So I'm going to scatter the days. I'm going to kind of always switch it up that way. Hopefully it works with everyone's schedule at least once of the weeks. When we have a large group, we can't coordinate it, but what's timeless is our Facebook community. So if you have questions, if you have concerns, if you have comments, if you just want some support, I really feel this sisterhood tribe energy forming. So the Facebook group is there 24 hours, obviously, and I'll be checking it, and that's, I'm there. Also, you can reach me by email. You all have my email, info@shannonhugman.com. And I just would like to cordially, that was a little formal, but seriously, open-heartedly, with so much gratitude, welcome you to the Art of Astrology Online Academy. This is so freaking cool and amazing that we've all connected around such an empowering, exciting subject, astrology, my favorite. So, all right. Let's dive into the juiciness. So week 1, I'm really kind of feeling this is like birth chart 101, but also astrology 101. So the best way for me to start is to start by sharing my journey. So when I was a little girl, I was able to guess people's birthdays, and it used to creep me out. And I would remember people coming from all corners of the playground, from other grades and people I didn't know, and asking, like, what's his birthday? I wasn't able to say signs, but I remember feeling into the energy of each month. I would like, you feel like a February, you feel like an October. And it would creep us out. Everyone kind of thought I was a little creepy for a while, and so I stopped doing it. In 2010, my boyfriend and I, we were living long distance, and I'm like, what is going on in his head? He's not expressing everything to me. I want to get some behind the scenes information. So I started reading, or not even reading, but searching for horoscopes. Anyways, I came across what I like to call intuitive astrology. And it was a website based in California, filled with a community of astrologers. The website's no longer in existence, but a lot of these astrologers are out there. The Leo King is one of them, Julie Day, Susan Grace, Mimi Clark, to name a few. But there was also a lot of practitioners and healers. And I found myself part of this tribe of people who were speaking this language that fascinated me. And that's really what I believe astrology is it's a language. And so the best way to learn a language is to speak it, is to share it, is to practice it. And that's how I learned, by speaking and engaging with others. And that's the full intention behind this course, is to provide you with a conversation circle so we can start engaging in this conversation, because it's an exciting conversation to have. So first of all, I would just love to offer you my intention. My intention, whether it's a reading or this course or even a post on Instagram, is to cultivate awareness. So it's super important for me to come from a space of affirming and sharing and informing that the planets are not doing anything to us. However, they are offering us opportunities. They are currents of energy cycling around us. And when we are aware of these currents, we can use our free will, so we'll always have free will, to make an informed, enhanced decision. So it's almost like when we know where the planets are going and we know these cycles, we have this like behind the scenes or this blueprint of the energy that's occurring on our planet. Now, the birth chart is a little map into our specific astrological makeup, and I'm going to break that down in a minute too. So it's important to remember that this is all energy. And so really the best way to explore it is to listen to your feelings. And again, I say that because that's how I initially learned astrology. Yes, maybe I was, a child, I didn't realize what I was doing, but I was tuning into my feelings. So I know we all have intuitions, we all have inner guidance, and this isn't about getting nervous or scared, because really you can't do this wrong. This is a time right now in our society. The planet Saturn is in Sagittarius. Don't worry, you'll figure all this out. But Saturn is our teacher. And Sagittarius is about expansion and new beliefs and the bigger picture. It's very space and galactic-like. And so right now is a time of learning about this galactic story or this cosmic story. So you're exactly where you're meant to be learning this course. You're exactly where you're meant to be signing up, and we can take it step by step, moment by moment. So yes, it's all energy. And my intention in my readings is always to cultivate awareness. I stress this because you will have the tools to read birth charts for individuals and also yourself. But it's so important as a reader to always put the power in your client's court or your friend's court. You're not here, or I'm not here. I mean, you can choose what you want to do, but I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm not here to tell you what's going to happen. We're not fortune tellers or future tellers, although people have asked me that. But we are interpreting energy cycles. If it's raining out, so this is what we are. We're cosmic meteorologists. We're here to tell you it's raining. We're not here to tell you you have to like the rain or hate the rain. And on that theme, you can think of it like this. There are these general weather, cosmic weather patterns that are happening right now. And we're going to explore that. And each individual experiences those patterns through the lens of their personal chart. So, for example, somebody who has the moon in Gemini is going to feel lit up when the sun moves through Gemini. Somebody who has the moon in Scorpio, when Saturn is in Taurus opposite that moon, they're going to feel an pull. Again, we're going to dive into all of this. By the end of these 4 weeks, you're going to know exactly what all of that means. But it's important to remember that we're talking general cycles, and then we're also talking lens of the natal chart or the birth chart. And so like I like to explain it is, if it's raining outside, somebody who is feeling sick is going to like the rain, is going to want to stay inside, versus somebody who has their wedding planned that day. So we all experience these cycles through our individual lens. So again, welcome, welcome, welcome. And now what I'm going to do is we're just going to follow the same format as the ebook just to keep it nice. And I'm a Capricorn, so I like structure and standard. And remember too, I'm going to invite you to get like a little notebook. I'm a sucker for back to school. So we're in back to school time. So I've got new notebooks for this. I also went back to school shopping. An excuse to buy some clothes, I guess. But I'm loving my new top. Anyways. So dive into this, make this juicy, make this fun. And remember, you can go through this at your own pace. You can come through it with us along the journey week by week. And I'm gonna keep the Facebook page open so you can always ask questions. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna screen share a little bit of the ebook. So here we are. We all know this is the Art of Astrology Online Academy. There we go. All right, so just my thank you. And this, I don't need to screen share this. Let's stop this. This I can just tell you. And I'm back. Okay, sweet. So yeah, basically this is just what I just said. It's all energy. And you want to cultivate awareness within somebody. You want to show them, hey, it's going to rain. Or you want to say, hey, look at over there, but not force them to look. So it's really important. And it's important to not be attached to the outcome either. It's a system of interpreting energetic cycles and rhythms that are flowing around us and choosing to work with them. And we have our free will. All right, so week 1 is the birth chart. So here we go. And again, you can follow along with the ebook if you'd like. So what we're going to talk about right now is the natal birth chart. So this is a word, this is a keyword. I would write this down. Natal, N-A-T-A-L, is where the planets were when an individual was born. So the natal birth chart, again, is, and it's also sometimes called a star chart too. So you can remember that. I actually like calling it star chart. It sort of sounds fun to me. Anyways, the natal birth chart and the natal planets are where the planets were when you were born. So this is based on your date, place, and time of birth. Now, if you don't know the time, that's okay. You're just not going to know the houses. You'll still know where each planet was when you were born, so it's still super juicy. So what I like to call the birth chart, I like to say it's the map of the planets the moment you were born. And my new favorite way to describe it is it's the treasure map to your highest potential. So because this is the treasure map, this is a journey. So these themes and lessons can take your whole life to learn, but they can also be very profound aha moments when we see the map. So it's so important not to beat yourself up. And also it's important to stress that to other people. If they're not living up to the potential of their chart, it's okay. We're here to inspire. We're here to cultivate awareness, not tell somebody, you know, this has happened in my chart, in my experience before. Somebody will have an aspect that is very symbolic of abundance and prosperity this lifetime. And I say, well, you know, you have this, but if your bank account is in overdraft right now, chances are that's because there's a belief that's blocked or a lesson that has to be learned or something that has to be processed. So again, this is the map to your highest potential, but we're all work in progress. So it's okay. In order to embody this highest potential, sometimes we have to shift. Sometimes we have to let things go. I also really stress, you know, sometimes the bad examples are our best teachers. But the birth chart, the natal birth chart, where the planets were when you were born, is all about self-awareness and self-development. So sometimes I call the chart your energetic signature. I've been thinking about it as they're the notes to your individual song or the threads that make up the tapestry that you are. And like you could think of your own little fun ones too if you want. So now I'm going to go jump over to the screen share because this is where I kind of want to show you the visual. All right, so we're going to look at how to create the chart. So again, this week we're getting basic, right? We have to start small in order to, you know, create charts. We need to know how to do these things. And I think it's important to learn correctly because sometimes you can just go online and Google, but you end up kind of lost. And so this is going to really give you this foundation that you can continue to build off of for the rest of your career as an astrologer. Or even if you don't want this to be a career for the rest of your life as a, you know, star child. We can think of ourselves that way, sis stars, I like to say. So yeah, so this might be kind of like, you know, basic, but it's so key for the journey. So I always use astro.com. Again, in the ebook, you can just click the link and it'll take you there. I recommend making an account because then you can save charts on file. You don't have to though, you can just sign in as a guest. So here we are at astro.com. Again, this ebook makes it super simple and basic and you'll get the hang of it. Although I found the first time the reason why I'm breaking it down like this is because when I first started using astro.com, I was like, whoa, there's a lot of different charts. So this is, you know, where to start. So here we go, astro.com, free horoscopes. Again, follow my graphics and my arrows. And you're going to click free horoscopes. You're going to see a whole bunch of options. You go over to drawing and calculations, and you're going to do extended chart selection. All right. You're going to add a new person, and you're going to put this individual's information in. So I'm using me as an example. Now, if you don't know the time, you can click that drop-down menu, and you can select unknown. And again, I'll show you, it shows you later what that will look like, but that will just not have the houses. But again, there's still a whole lot of insights, even without the houses. Now, this is where we get into a little bit of complexity. Please select a chart type. So as you can see, there are many, many charts, but where we're going to start is we're just going to start with natal chart wheel, because you got to start somewhere. You know, there's a lot and lots of charts. I'd say I probably use about 10 of them. So there's a lot more than I use. Anyways, natal chart wheel is where you want to start. And in the future, I'm going to be offering things that build on this, but like, you know, I think it's so important to just really create roots. I'm a Capricorn, so what can I say? So that's what we're doing right now. We're building roots. Now, this is an exciting thing we're adding. We're going to add Chiron. So what you would do is you'd go down to additional objects and you'd add Chiron. Now, if you've had a reading with me, you've probably heard a lot of these other asteroids. Again, we don't want to bite off more than we can chew. Chiron is the wounded healer. So it represents where our healing is and how we can help others heal themselves. But again, we will get all into Chiron in week 3. So we're just going to add Chiron for now. But again, as we continue through this journey, we will learn more about other ones as well. Well, not in this course. We're going to focus on the planets, but we'll have other offerings. And again, you can always dive into the energy of these asteroids too, if you feel called. And then the last thing is click here to show the chart. Nice and simple, and ta-da! This is my chart. So this is what my chart looks like. And everybody's is different, okay? So what we're gonna do is, I'm just gonna break down what the heck this chart is, okay? And the aspects of it so that we can even understand what symbols we're looking at. This is a legend at the bottom. And it shows, okay, this is the sun. The sun is the circle with the dot right there, and it's at 19 degrees Capricorn. So, I mean, the legend, yeah, that's key. But basically, to understand the workings of the chart, I'm just going to start very simple. The chart begins at the ascendant. So 9 o'clock here, where the AC is, and mine is at 7 Pisces. That's the start of our chart. And we know that because this is now the first house. And you can see the second, and you can see the numbers near the center of the circle. So we have our first, second, third house, all the way to 12 houses. So we have 12 houses, and we have 12 signs. So these are the signs on the outside, and these are the planets in the center. So basically, and again, I break it down later in the ebook, but I'll just show you now. If we're going to look at my Mars sign, all right, my Mars sign, most people know the Mars symbol. My Mars sign is in Taurus in the 3rd house. And so what we're going to learn throughout this course is what is the symbolism of Taurus, what is the symbolism of Mars, and what is the symbolism of the 3rd house. And then we piece it together in order to understand that lesson. So for example, I'll just use me as an example. And again, I don't want this to confuse everybody, but I'm going to give you an example of how at the end of this course you'll be able to piece this information together. Taurus is an earth sign and represents worthiness, but also roots and commitment and work and momentum and building. And Mars represents willpower and our individual will. And the 3rd house represents communication and our attitudes and our mindsets. And so me, with Mars and Taurus, means that when I get the momentum, when I get an intention, I am going to run with it. I'm going to get all my will to back it. And when my mind and my attitudes are on board, because it's the 3rd house, it's like you can't stop me. Especially even if I should be stopped, you know, so there's positives and negatives to everything. So, you know, the other part of the chart is how these lines in the center. So you can see these red lines, these blue lines, these green lines, these little dotted lines, and those are what are called the aspects. We're going to dive really juicy into those in week 4, but basically what it is it's how the energies are working together. So you can see I have my Mars and Taurus over here, and then I have this nice thick red line, and I have this moon symbol and a P. So what that means is my moon and my Pluto, my natal moon and my natal Pluto, are opposite my natal Mars. So that drive I get, that momentum I get when I get that idea in my head and I got tunnel vision, sometimes the unseen, the Scorpio energy, the unseen, the subconscious, the moon, my emotions, the unknown kind of get in the way, and they can be at this tug of war. So basically, again, I'm just using myself as an example, and we're going to dive into your chart, and we're going to learn it piece by piece by piece in order to unveil this treasure map. But you interpret it as, like, for example, sometimes I need to take a deep breath before I charge into it. Sometimes I need to also get my mind on board with the unknown. Sometimes I need to trust. Anyways, that's just an example, but we could break it down forever. So we also have the AC, the IC, the DC, and the MC around the outside. And those are the start. AC is the start of the first house. IC is the start of the 4th. DC is the start of the 7th. And MC is the start of the 10th. These are all symbolic of different things. So for example, the IC represents your individuality. I like to say it's the mask you wear. The MC represents your career and your legacy. And so for me, for example, my MC is in Sagittarius. So my career, my legacy has the Sagittarius feel. The Sagittarius feel, again, I mentioned this earlier, is the big picture, big ideas, far out there, pretty galactic. So that's why I, get very cabin fever when I'm working in an office. Like, I gotta have a lot of liberation and freedom. And then, for example, my ascendant is Pisces, the energy of Pisces. And again, remember, we're going to break down each of these things in the week to come. The energy of Pisces is very sweet and bubbly and compassionate and gentle and soft. And the AC represents our identity / the mask we wear. So the AC is like our surface. And so when people meet me, they're like, oh, she's so sweet and she's so kind. But then maybe they start getting to know me, or they start listening to me, and then, my Scorpio moon, that intensity comes out, and they're like, oh, she's sweet and bubbly, but what? She's got some intense conversation topics, let's just say. So anyways, that's just my chart, but this is to illustrate how we can piece the chart together, but also it's important right now for you to understand that these symbols around the outside are the signs. These symbols on the inside are showing where the planets were, what planet the signs were in for my natal chart. The lines, the pie pieces are the houses, and then the lines among them are how these planets are interacting with each other. And so, like I said, I'm in love with this chart. I'm in love with my chart. I really know you're going to fall in love with your chart too, because it's, I think it's important too to mention that we really chose our charts. I like to think we all kind of had like a little, board meeting with our guides and all our community and all our soul tribe, and we're like, yeah. I'm like, I'm just going to, shake it up and give myself a Scorpio moon, and I'll put Mars over here and just challenge that. Give me, a little bit of, I don't know, pull. So look at it that way. Look at it as like you chose this. It's exciting. Get creative with your chart. And that's why I really call this the art of astrology, because I see that chart as a piece of art. But it's me and it's you. So just like it's the notes of your song or the threads in your tapestry, it's a piece of artwork. And so I really would love if you saw it that way. So now here we go. If you didn't have your time of birth, your chart would look like this. It would just not have, let me see, here it comes. It just wouldn't have those pie pieces. But again, we can still see that I have my Mars over here in Taurus opposite my Scorpio moon and Pluto over here. We can still see that, we don't see the AC or the MC because we don't have the houses, but we can still see, oh, that party in Capricorn, what's going on over there? We can see Jupiter and Chiron, and we can see also how condensed my chart is. So the thing is that we look at so if you don't know the time of birth, that's okay. There's still so much insights and juiciness. But what we can start to notice is how unique and authentic each chart is. That's what really blows my mind. Is everybody's chart is, again, this masterpiece. So if you're looking at my chart, we'll use me as an example. We can see I've got this party over here in Capricorn going on. All the, 5 planets. Obviously, that's because at my higher self board meeting, before I incarnated as Shannon Hugman, I really wanted to rock that Capricorn vibration. I really wanted to learn the energy of Capricorn because we're looking at this chart as like the curriculum for the soul. So I also wanted to learn this Pluto Scorpio lesson and this earthly Taurus lesson. But I thought, you know what? I don't need to learn too much Aries or too much Libra. Now, that doesn't mean that I will not learn Aries or Libra. And it doesn't mean that because you don't have any planets in Capricorn, you're not going to learn Capricorn. Because remember, we're all the signs. And all the signs represent a part of ourselves. It just means we're not majoring in that sign. So I'm not majoring in Pisces, or excuse me, I'm not majoring in Aries this lifetime. But I still have an area of my chart that is represented by Aries. And so when there's a planet transiting through Aries, it's going to illuminate that part of my chart. So we're all the signs, but we're certain targeted lessons that, again, I really believe that we chose. So when we're reading the chart, again, I just break it down into like the symbols. I already did this, so I'm just going to say it again. The symbols on the outer circle are the zodiac signs. The things inside, the symbols inside are the planets. The pie pieces are the houses. And the chart travels counterclockwise. So the planets are moving in a counterclockwise circle around the chart. Now, each planet has a different cycle length. So for example, the sun travels 1 degree every day. I should actually back up right now and say that each sign represents 30 degrees. So there's 360 degrees all the way around the chart. And so the sun travels 1 degree every day. So it takes about a year because the Gregorian calendar we use in the astrology, I think it's because the Gregorian calendar is a little off. Like, what is that? Let's add a leap year because our math's a little wrong. So they don't totally align. But a solar year is 360 days. Now, a full lunar cycle, the moon goes all the way around in 28 days. Saturn is 28 years. Pluto is 280 years. So again, this is all stuff we're going to dive into, but it's important to just recognize that each planet has a different cycle length. All right? So if you have your time of birth, your chart would begin at your AC, which is your rising or your ascendant sign, which would be 9 o'clock if we imagined it as a clock. So we look more into those houses in AC, IC, DC in week 4. Each sign is 30 degrees, and those tiny little dashes, those are the degrees. If you look at the planet, you'll see a little number beside. So like when we were looking at mine, and I said, oh, mine is at 7 degrees Pisces, or those little numbers, that's what degree it's at. And then the lines in the center are the aspects, how these planets interact with each other. So yeah, basically now the ebook just breaks it down. I guess I'll screen share this because why not? Might as well dive into it. So, using my chart as an example, here we go. See that? It's 7 AC. My ascendant is at 7 degrees Pisces. My Chiron, that's the circle with the K, is at 24 degrees. Okay, I said 25, but it's at 24 in the 5th house. Typo. I will change that. My moon in Scorpio at 21 in the 8th house, opposite my Mars. So this was what I kind of broke down before. So now I like this one. I say, no fear. No fear. And the thing is that astrology is a deep wisdom. It's complex. It's okay to feel confused, but I'm here to support you. So you're here. I'm your teacher. So you can meet me at our weekly Q&As, and I'm always available on the Facebook community. So when we're reading a chart, we're basically piecing together the symbols and coming into an understanding of the full story. So we look at what is the symbolism of this planet? What is the symbolism of the sign it's in? And what is the symbolism of the house that it's in? And how what is the symbolism of how it connects to another planet? And then we're also going to look at what the planets are doing now and how they're interacting with that. So it feels like a lot, but as we go into the deeper weeks, we're going to get into the juicy meat and potatoes, and I promise you it will all come together. It's like math. Well, I don't want to, no, it's not like math. No, it's not. It's like writing a song. You know, you have different components of the song, or painting a picture. Like there's different aspects of the picture, and so it's, you know, it's not, yes, there are numbers and there are lines and there are graphs, but it's not math. The computer does that. We interpret it. We feel into it. And it's a language, and languages take time to learn. So be patient with yourself and speak it. You know, that's the best way to learn. So if you have people in your life who, you know, who want to hear about it, talk about it to them. I would love if you share on your social media, if you want to do some posts, hashtag, you know, the Art of Astrology Online Academy, or tag me in it. And let's engage in a conversation. But again, if you don't want to go public with it, that's cool too. We can talk about it at the Facebook community and our weekly Q&As, bi-weekly, or like twice a week. So that's not bi-weekly, twice a week. And you probably know that I'm always chatting away about astrology on Periscope. So follow me on Periscope. Follow me on Instagram. My handle is Shan Hugman for both, so we can engage in the conversation. All right, so now this is where we're going to kind of shift gears this week. So what we've looked at is how to make the birth chart and the natal birth chart. So natal is the key word there. How we make the natal birth chart, which is where the planets are when you were born. And what that represents is your lens to which you experience the current energy, or your lens to which you experience a certain energy for a given point in time. So there's two levels of it. There's the energy, and then there's your experience of the energy. So what we just looked through was your experience of the energy. And so the chart that I sent you is your personal lens. And now we're going to shift gears to away from a person's, and I believe I said this, but I'm just going to reiterate it again, that chart is a story of your whole life. Again, lifelong learning, remember, to your highest potential. So that's something that carries you throughout your whole life. But now what we're going to look at is charts for moments in time. So this is for daily forecasts. This is for looking at something that happened in the past, or planning for something that's happening in the future. So let's go back to my face. And so yeah, basically we got that. We got natal is where they were when we were born. That's our lens. Now we're going, so that's called natal birth chart. That's for an individual. But we can look at a chart for a moment in time, and that will give us a forecast for that day. So you can think of it as like what the planets are doing right now is a weather report, so to say. And just like in my example of somebody who has their wedding planned this day and somebody who's sick are going to experience the news of a thunderstorm a lot differently. So we have but it's important to know that it's raining, right? So she can get like a canopy for her guests, and he can like call in sick or whatever. So now we're going to shift gears and look at general forecasts. So the way you create a chart for a moment in time, the exact same way you'd create a chart for an individual. So but it's not explaining an individual, it's explaining an energy for that given moment. So we can look at something in the past, like, you know, it's cool to look at anniversaries, or breakups, or, you know, I don't know, promotions or days you quit or things like that. You can look at significant events. And actually, you know, this is where we get really deep. It's very profound to look at days that individuals have transitioned. Because again, that's like a gateway to return home, I guess we could say. I don't want to get like too deep, but it's very, in my experience, when we look at the day an individual transitioned, and then we look at it through the lens of our chart, we can really get some understanding as to what the lessons were of that transition. So my favorite thing to explore is the chart for right now, because that's all what it's all about, is the present moment, right? You know, the only thing that's actually real is right now. So this is what I mostly talk about on Periscope, is current energy, and this is what I base my daily forecasts on, which I post to Instagram and Facebook, if you don't know. So the thing is, when we know the current forecast, we're like invited to the planet's party. And you know, it's exciting. So when we're talking about the energy forecast, or we're looking at a certain moment in time, remember, you experience this energy through the lens of your natal chart. So one of my favorite apps is called Time Passages. So I recommend you go download it. It's free. I mean, there are some in-app purchases you can do, but it allows you to look at the current astrological chart. And so what the current chart is what the planets are doing right now in the sky. And so when we know what they're doing right now, we can like ride with them. Again, we're invited to their party. We can swim with them, or fly with them, or burn with them, or ground with them, right? Depending on the element. So what I want to also now bring into play, so we're talking about finding a chart for a moment in time. And so it's not a coincidence, but the day, today, if you're watching this on September 1st, if you're not, that's okay. But the day one of our class is on a solar eclipse. And so, you know, this is what I do. I plan my launches with astrological events. And so there's a reason being. And a solar eclipse represents a new beginning, a new start. It's a new moon on steroids, basically. And so you being here and you on this journey for this solar eclipse is really saying something to the universe. So we're totally supported in our journey. But what I want to do right now is just look at the chart for this solar eclipse. So this is what the chart looks like right now. And as you can see, there are, you know, the sun and the moon are together in, there are also Neptunes over here. And so this is what we would do, is what we would do is if we would look at this chart, for example, and we would see 9 degrees Virgo. Then, and you can do this with me if you have your chart available, you pull out your chart and you see where in your chart is 9 degrees Virgo. Again, remember, everybody's charts are kind of topsy-turvy because of the houses, but you find the symbol for Virgo and you find, do you have anything near 9 degrees? And honestly, or if you have anything in Virgo, because degrees are very small, so anything in Virgo would be affected. We can also look at, okay, what house is this solar eclipse happening in? Because then there's messages and guidance there, and the solar eclipse would be illuminating that area of your chart. Now, again, that may be, you know, overwhelming, but it will make sense as you get the components to piece together the treasure map. And if you do want to explore, let me know. Let me know, because I can help. So yeah, there's a new moon, and it's at 9 degrees. So it's you can think of it as like this. The current astrological alignments, so we're using the example of the solar eclipse, but this could even just be, you know, a normal full moon, or even just where the moon is right now. But those current energies are infusing energy into wherever 9 degrees Virgo falls in your chart. Hope you're following me. So because this solar eclipse is happening at 9 degrees Virgo, wherever 9 degrees is in your chart, that is having energy infused into it. Now, when we get more into aspects, we'll also see that it's infusing energy into planets that it interacts with. So this is going to be like a little bit of foreshadowing maybe what I'm about to say. And so if you're already like, okay, I just need a deep breath, just don't listen. But let's say, for example, you have a planet at 9 degrees Sagittarius. Now, Sagittarius and Virgo create what are called a square to each other. This is all coming in the weeks to come. So because the solar eclipse is happening here at 9 degrees Virgo, it's going to be squaring your planets at 9 degrees Sagittarius, or your planets at Gemini, or opposite your planets at Pisces. So if the solar eclipse is happening in a certain area, and you don't have anything there, it doesn't mean it's not interacting and making aspects to other areas of your chart. So follow me. If you're not following, that's okay. It will make sense later. It's kind of like we're, if you're learning Chinese, you have to like first learn the characters of the alphabet before you can even try to form a sentence. So seriously, be gentle and easy with yourself because you're doing a great job. And for those of you who are like, yeah, I get this, this is easy, awesome, because we're going to dive in deep in the weeks to come. And if you're feeling, like ambitious and excited, post stuff in the Facebook group, engage. If there's questions that you want to dive deeper, let's engage in conversation. So yeah, so as you learn the symbols and you explore the current energy, so I love to use time passages to look at what's happening in the planets, then you can compare the current chart with your chart. Now, there's also, so you can piece together, you can look at time passages. You can just do it like with your mind and see, okay, see this is there, where would that be here? But there's also a way to do it for the present moment on astro.com. That's what I'm going to show you now on the screen share. So this is for current transits. So what you would do is you go back to chart selection and you select natal chart and transits, okay? Again, you would go down and select Chiron again if you wanted Chiron, just like you did in the birth chart. And you click here to show the chart. So then you would get this chart. So again, this is for me, and this is for when I created the ebook, which was this date. So in that moment, this is my chart, which you maybe would recognize, my Capricorn party and my Scorpio moon and my Mars over here. And this is the green planets on the outside are where the planets are there now or then in that moment. But if you made it for right now, you'd see where the planets are now. So you can see the sun, this little green guy, is traveling through my 6th house because that DC is the end of my 6th house. You can see my moon is right there between, not my moon, the moon is right between Taurus and Gemini. It was just shifting into Gemini. All hell broke loose once it shifted into Gemini, but that was last week, so we're all good. You can see Saturn and Mars over here and Sagittarius hanging out. So if you want to do this, you can use this chart to compare. You can do it visually, but you can also do it this way through astro.com, and I really love doing this. So remember, you're the black planets in the center, and the green planets on the outside are where they're currently transiting. So if you're looking at this chart, it's important to look at what houses the planets are transiting in if you know your houses. If you don't know your houses, that's okay, because you can also look at what planets are, what transiting planets are interacting with your natal planets. And so when those energies come together, remember that's energy being infused into a certain area of your curriculum. All right, so woohoo! I am loving this, feeling great. And what I am now calling this is home play, because it's not homework. We're not about that. This is a new paradigm. This is about play. You don't even have to do it at home. You can do it wherever you want, whenever you want. Let me stop screen sharing. So, but these are, and again, this is obviously all optional, but I'm going to give you some opportunities of what you can do to set yourself up for next week. And again, if you don't do this, it's okay. Next week we'll still be here. And remember, you have this ebook and you have this video for eternity, or as long as, our devices support YouTube and ebooks. You have this information. So it's like you can chew on it for the rest of your life if you want to. The only thing I ask is that you just keep it for you, and you don't share it with someone who hasn't purchased it. So this is what my advice to do this week is, and again, you have this in the ebook, is just practice making charts on astro.com and notice how each chart is authentic and unique, and notice what does your chart look like and what does, your boyfriend's chart look like, or your girlfriend's chart, or your daughter's chart, and are they spread out? Are they compacted like mine? Are they more balanced? Then what I would invite you to do is check out your natal chart and your transit chart. Look at your chart and then look at what those green planets around the outside are doing. And again, you can do that for other people too. It doesn't have to just be for you. I would recommend downloading Time Passages, the app, And if you can't, that's okay too. But notice what's going on with the planets. Just watch. Time Passages breaks it down to you too, so you don't even really need to know the symbols just yet. But remember, when you're looking at time passages and we're talking transits, we're talking about where the planets are moving through the sky now. So even just getting that into your awareness, that where the planets are moving right now are energy coming at us in currents of energy. Just start incorporating that into your awareness will be super key, because remember, this is all about awareness and all about focusing on certain things. And so throughout this week, realize that there are currents that want to play with you and want to swim with you. And so the best place to start is the moon. Look at where the moon moves through. And again, follow me on Periscope, because a lot of the time I talk about these current lessons. So this next home play, I didn't come up with this. This one came straight from, source, because I didn't think of it, and it just sort of wrote itself. But next week we're going to dive into the signs. So spend some time. It doesn't have to be a lot of time, but it could be a lot of time feeling into each sign. So get your little notebook if you feel called, and take notes on what you feel for each sign. You don't have to know anything. This is about connecting to what we are intuitively know. So just run through it. Start with Aries. You don't even have to go in order, but if you want to, you can go Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces. That's the order, but you don't have to go in that order. And just meditate, tune in, take a couple deep breaths, and again, remembering meditation I define meditation by awareness. So this whole course is really like a kind of meditation. But what you can do is just bring that, okay, Capricorn. What do I know about Capricorn? It's a goat. Okay, I'm gonna write that down. What are goats like? They persevere. They climb to really high ledges. How do they get up there? These kinds of questions. And there's no wrong answer. This is just about sort of now opening up your spidey senses, or your clair senses, to the energy. Because again, we're going to dive nice and juicy into the signs next week. And first and foremost, this is fun. Don't get frustrated. Don't beat yourself up. Be patient with yourself. We're only just beginning. Likewise, if you're like, all right, let's go. I want more. We're only just beginning. So where you are at right now is perfect, and how you're feeling with the course so far is perfect. And again, remember, we're here to engage. We're here to build community. So pop on the Facebook group. Tell us who you are. Tell us what drew you to the course. Share your chart if you want. Comment about your chart. Comment on other people's charts. And let's just engage and get interactive and have fun. And this is play. This is fun. This is not stressful. There's a lot of things in life that may stress you out, but please don't let this be one of them. This is here to expand your joy and your light. And the whole intention is because having an astrological awareness lights me up to the point where I know I must share. And so the fact that you're here, the fact that you've said yes, the fact that you've received this offering, that's all you need to do. Be willing. So you're right where you're meant to be. You are enough. Like I always like to say, you're doing a good job regardless of what the voice in your head is telling you. So explore the ebook. Check out this video. Watch it as many times as you want. Watch it as few times as you'd like. Take notes. Get juicy. Meditate on the planets. Download time passages. Notice the energy and start to really connect intuitively to the vibrations. So for example, if you notice that the moon is in Libra on your time passages app. The moon will be moving into Libra. Say you see that. Meditate on it. Feel into it. What does it feel like? Journal your experiences. I think that would really serve too, is to journal day by day and look at time passages. And maybe this is what I do when I was learning. I would get my book and I would say, okay, moon is in Libra. Mars is conjunct Saturn. Again, that might be too much now, but that's okay. You could just start with moon is in Libra and write about how you feel. Connect to the energies. because it's energy. And again, like I said, they want to play and they want to engage. And so your willingness and your open-heartedness and your open-mindedness and your compassion and acceptance of yourself, like compassion, be compassionate, is all that you need. So you're doing a good job. Honestly, infinite love and gratitude coming at you for being here right now. And I'm so excited to see you this week, Tuesday, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time and Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and on Facebook. Woohoo! Any questions, you can email me. Again, you can find me on Facebook. The Facebook community is really going to be a great resource. Yeah. So infinite love and gratitude to you all. No words, clearly. No words. So thank you and looking forward to seeing you next week.